Hello, and welcome back to another wonderful video. Today, I want to tell you all about the experience I had trying to remake certain parts of the Ponytown map into Unity. And honestly, it took a really long time. It took like a month and a half to make and everything, so let's just get right into this. So I recently downloaded Blender. Now, by recently, I mean a month and a half ago because, you know, this all started about a month and a half ago. And the reason I downloaded it is because, and some of you may not know this, I have a 3D printer and I've made 3D models in the past using the default 3D modeler that Windows provides. And honestly, I wanted to kind of do more. I wanted to make better things, more advanced things like what you would expect to see somewhere else versus this random default 3D modeler. And I thought that Blender was a great way to do that because Blender has a lot more features. It's a lot more advanced and everything like that. So I decided to try my hooves at that. And a week or two later, I thought it would be a great idea to sort of challenge myself so I can learn more about Blender and have a reason to keep myself making 3D models with Blender. That's when I got the bright idea to make 3D models of certain Ponytown assets. Things like the barrels, the crates, the lanterns, whatever. So I hopped into Ponytown to get some reference pictures. I had to get some screenshots for this, obviously. So I jumped in there, and for whatever reason, I was in the caves. I don't know why I was in the caves, but I was some reason in the caves. I'm usually not there, but this time I was, and I honestly have no idea why. It was so long ago, I have no idea why I was there. But while I was there, I kind of got a new idea. Kind of got inspired to create the entire caves and put them in Unity. To recreate the entire cave section of the Ponytown map and put it in Unity. This was an idea that would take weeks to complete. Many weeks. Like a month and a half to complete. So I wanted to remake the entire mine cave portion of the map in Blender and put that over from Blender into Unity so that I could make everything in third person. So I made a checklist and got to work. First, I had to take a screenshot of the caves, which I thought I was going to be able to, squeeze just one screenshot in there, but I actually had to take two screenshots and kind of stitch them together for my references and everything like that. So that was right off the bat, not the best way to start, but I digress. It's still doable, so let me get started. So I finally had a reference to the layout and the objects where they were needed to be, pictures of every single object that I was going to have to use. Everything was set, everything was ready, so it was finally time to start modeling some of these objects. So with all of this done, I started with the minecart. I thought making the minecart first would be the best option because now I can kind of compare it to the size of every other object and compare it to the size of the player in Unity, and then using that I would be able to kind of scale everything to the proper scale and make everything kind of function the way it should. Everything should be the right size. This took like 2 to 3 hours to finish and complete, and that was about when I realized that this is going to take a lot longer to do than I originally thought. It's going to take a very long time, a lot longer than I expected. I wasn't just going to be able to model everything over the course of like a couple days or anything like that and then have everything done and move it over to Unity and get everything done within a week. I thought that was my original expectation to how long this was going to take, and that was nowhere near how long it was going to actually take. And that was, once I finished the minecart, that was when I realized that was probably the case. So each model over the next 2 weeks or a couple of weeks, something like that, I was making other models and everything like that, and each model presented its own challenge and it gave me something new to learn, and overall it was kind of fun to make some of these models and very annoying to make others. And over the course of a couple of weeks, I finally finished all of them, or at least I thought I finished all of them, but we'll get into that in a moment. It was time to finally start putting things in Unity. Now, I was putting things in Unity before this, but not all of the models, because I started, I moved the minecart over into Unity so I can compare it to the size of the player, make sure it gets the right size. I moved over like the crates and a couple of other things that were in Unity so that I would know for sure that they're the right size. But overall, I had, the minecart and the crates and stuff like that I could use to compare the size of everything else with and get the proper size for everything without having to move it back and forth between them. So I finally moved over everything that I had into Unity and was finally really excited that I was finally about to, get started and just finish everything and get all of it done. But oops, I forgot something very important. I forgot the cave walls. I forgot the cave walls of all things. I forgot to make those. So I had to go back to Blender for another day, actually 2 days, make that 2 days, where I had to, create the cave walls. And finally, when that was done, I was ready to, line everything up with the image to make sure, everything was scaled properly, to make sure that once it was all lined up and everything like that, I would be able to move everything in the proper place. So I moved the cave walls there, tried to line everything up, and had a lot of problems with that, but eventually I did get it right. And once I did, I realized I forgot 2 more models. So I was like, okay, I can kind of work a little bit in Unity and then go back and do that, since those are just like models that I can just make anytime. So I decided to work a little bit in Unity, kind of put things in their place and everything like that. I had some problems with stuff like the rails and some other things that ended up taking me like forever to fix, but I eventually fixed those. And once a handful of things were done, I was like, okay, this might not take a long time now that I have everything. And then I realized, oh yeah, wait, I forgot a couple assets. Let me go back again. So I ended up going back to Blender, finishing those assets and bringing them back into Unity. And eventually I had everything, and eventually I was putting everything in the place it was meant to be. And that's when I was almost ready to finish. I was almost ready to be done. It was almost all done. It was getting very frustrating. And yeah, I kept forgetting so many models, and that just made it even more frustrating. I kept forgetting this, and then I forgot this, and then I was like, okay, I'm close to done. Oh wait, no, I forgot this entire section of the map, or no, I missed this, or no, I missed that. So in the future, I'm probably gonna have to make a better checklist, but finally I was on my way, placing each individual model one by one and trying to make sure they are in the right place. It was a very painstaking process that made me go insane the first night. Suffice it to say though, I kind of never want to do this again. I just kind of never want to do this again. The long hours doing each individual thing was honestly making me hate Blender and Unity and myself for putting myself through it. And it was overall kind of frustrating in a lot of places, but I did kind of have fun and I did learn a lot of things. Eventually, after hours and hours, days and days, and weeks, I was finally done, or as done as I could be. Before I show you what this finished product is, what this kind of ends up looking like in Unity, I just want to say a couple of things. I have no idea how to make water in Unity, or, well, I kind of know how to make water in Unity, but I have no idea how to use water in Unity. I have no idea how to give it depth. I have no idea how to use water properly in Unity. So those pools that are in the caves, I just couldn't do them, unfortunately. That being said, I also have no idea how to do textures. I have no idea how to make textures, but I do know how to apply textures. So some of the walls are looking a little bit weird and that sort of thing. But here it is in glorious third person, so you can see it for yourself. As you can see, none of the models were textured, like I said. That's because, again, I have no idea how to make textures. I have no idea how to make those kinds of things. I know how to apply them, but I don't know how to, make the textures look good so that when they're applied, they actually look good. So I don't really know textures that well, so none of the models are textured, but like the walls and caves are, and it looks really ugly in my opinion. This is what it is. Everything is more or less to scale, as close to the original as possible. That's why the walls look a little bit weird too, because of the textures and everything like that. You may notice that there's no roof, and that's because I don't really understand lighting in Unity, and I don't know a lot about it, and I thought it would be better to just not put a roof on there and just kind of leave it that way, so I didn't have to deal with a lot of lighting and everything like that. This really isn't going to be any kind of adventure map or anything like that. I don't have to worry about lighting and stuff like that. I just kind of wanted to put it in there to see what it would look like in third person. Everything is in place. This, to my knowledge, is kind of the only attempt at even doing this, so take of that what you will, I guess. And yeah, this is kind of it. That's all I have. It took me two months almost to make this. So what am I going to do besides cry? Well, honestly, I have no idea. I don't know what I'm going to do now, so leave it in the comments below what you think I should do next. But please don't let this video flop. Whatever you do, don't let this video flop. Please don't let this get like 30 views and that be it. Because this literally took like 2 months to make. So it was a lot of work put in this, and I don't want this to just flop for nothing. Yeah, besides all of that, that's all I have for you all here today. Please like, subscribe, share, do those wonderful things, because when you do those wonderful things, you get access to wonderful content such as this. That's not all you get. You also get to become wonderful yourself, and I think we all want that. So do those wonderful things, and until next time, stay wonderful.